Exactly. What's afternoon, sorry?
Mic test right now.
Hi everyone, my name's Nancy, and we're short one person, so she'll be walking in sometime in the middle of the panel. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So hi everyone, I have here my panelists, Joseph, Nagu, and Justin. So hi everyone, introduce yourself.
Hey guys.
And what cosplay you're wearing with an image description. In other words, describe your cosplay in a few sentences.
I'll go with Joe first.
Hi everyone, I'm Joseph Monastery. My cosplay is an alternate universe version of myself, where I, instead of being Joe, I'm Butterflies in Space Joe. My jacket is, I'm wearing a blue suit jacket that is space themed with a blue butterfly on it. And there's a lot of significance meaning behind the blue butterfly. Yeah.
Hello everybody, good morning. How are you all doing?
Woo!
Woo!
Ow!
Thank you guys so much for coming. I'm Stardust Megu, and the cosplay I'm wearing, the character, her name is Anj Ushidoniya. It's from this super underrated visual novel called Umineko no Nakukodoni, which is really great. More people should play it. So basically what I'm wearing a white button-down shirt, a black blazer with like long sleeves, layered sleeves. Underneath I'm wearing a blue pleated skirt, and I'm wearing a lavender bow on my neck, and I'm wearing like a red wig that's medium length, that's like loose, but like there's like small pigtails like on the sides, and yeah, I love cosplaying, and I love her so much. Oh, thank you.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing today? I am Justin. Some know me as Lionheart on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, any one of those. I'm that autistic, optimistic Reactor cosplayer, and I am cosplaying Kamen Rider Zets, the newest Kamen Rider in the Tokusatsu. You can watch it on Tokusatsu on YouTube right now. And playing as Code Agent number 7, who invades the dreams, helping out defeating the nightmares. And this was imported from Asia. You know, it's kind of like a, what is it, carbon fiber? Yeah, like a carbon fiber pattern, a bit of green and blue. It's sort of like a mixture between Kamen Rider 01, Kamen Rider Ichigo, the very first one, and I think another one like Revice. So it's a bit of a mix, like homage to it. But I gotta say, this thing is super insulated, so I'm kind of glad the ACs are blasting in this convention. Otherwise, I would be sweating nonstop right now.
Okay, and if you feel comfortable, disclose your disability accessibility needs for New York Comic Con. You can go, Joe.
So I have autism as well as anxiety. So with those two, time management is definitely and one of my struggles, as well as feeling overwhelmed. So having quiet spaces, or quiet room is definitely useful, and getting to planning ahead and getting to places early. For me, mapping out the convention beforehand as best as possible, which, you know, as we all know, it's not always, because there's so many different things going on. It's not always feasible, but that's
That's what we're doing. We'll show until our Dejanay shows up, where it's gonna be like that.
Hi, so I have depression and anxiety. I actually had it all my life, but I was formally properly diagnosed with it in 2019. I also have dyslexia. I grew up, having trouble, difficulty like reading. I literally did not spoke until I was like 4 years old, and it was a huge struggle. And recently, I was diagnosed with autism as well. I've always had the symptoms for a while, but the thing is, especially back then, they more so like diagnose like boys instead of girls, especially like black girls. They don't think our symptoms are also autism, but luckily I was able to get my proper diagnosis for that. So for the accessibility, especially at New York Comic Con, I think like the quiet rooms really help a lot. Sometimes I get overwhelmed and I need like a place like, sit down and like try to like calm down. And also I feel like more like water stations, so that people can like drink water and stuff. And I think
No, it's a good thing. I mean, now they've been accommodating the private rooms and
Yes.
downstairs, so that's kind of nice.
yeah.
Okay, guys, so I just like to say I'm proudly autistic. It's kind of like a big part that connects to the stories that I love. My autism helps me see the details, but others might miss. Like, I feel like for us, people see things in a two-dimensional, well, sometimes we look at three-dimensional. People want to build a puzzle with the image. I like to build a puzzle without the image because I like to test my horizon and my brain a little bit more. But at conventions, sometimes, well, it's not, sorry, let me rephrase that. For me, I kind of miss the patterns, I miss emotions. Sometimes I can be confused, I can mistake in what I think somebody's upset, thinking they're just joking around and they don't mean it. So it's very difficult to look at facial expressions, hand gestures, and I gotta take a minute to process it and know what the right response is. At conventions, I sometimes need quieter spaces or breaks to decompress because the clustered people, sometimes I feel like the clogged artery in a way.
Like clogged or like
Like a clogged artery, like when so many things are being compressed in a small space.
Nervous system dysregulation.
What?
Nervous system dysregulation.
You gotta speak up. I need to.
Nervous system dysregulation.
Thank you. That was it. So, but I'm grateful that New York Comic Con has been improving accessibility every year, and I don't like to take credit, but I feel like we play a big part to bringing it up to New York Comic Con, and they listen to us and they take many small improvements year by year.
And to add on to that, it's really, really, we want to improve accessibility. It's really, really important to the show. Repop always puts out always sends out an email asking for a survey. Fill out that survey, put your feedback in there. And then you can also, Repop on the New York Comic website, there's also an ADA email. Emailing that email is also important. And letting them know, because they do take the feedback seriously.
Thank you, Joseph. And the next question is, when you think about diversity and accessibility in creative spaces, what does that mean to you personally?
When I think about diversity and accessibility in creative spaces, freedom of expression, but also freedom of expression, also freedom to be open and allow yourself to be vulnerable, which is in today's society is a really, really difficult thing to do. But yeah, allowing yourself to be vulnerable, and allowing yourself to ask for help when you need it. Again, another really hard thing to do.
Thank you.
That's a very good question. I'm so sorry, guys.
It's okay if you're nervous.
Yeah.
We can go to another question.
Cause like my brain, like when I have my thoughts, it's like Shakespeare, but then when it comes out, it's like, ...
That's okay.
It's kind of like what the subtitle.
You want me to go to the expressions of pizza?
Like that?
Excuse me?
You want me to go to the expression of pizza?
Yeah, maybe if you're okay with.
No, I'll answer. You can
Okay.
skip it if you
All
want.
right, Justin, go
Yeah.
ahead.
To me, diversity and accessibility means representation without limits. It's about everyone, regardless of ability, background, or identity. Having the same opportunity to express themselves through creativity, whether you walk, you roll, you sign, you speak, your story deserves a place on that show floor.
And I'm going to throw out there that it's also not just about equality, but also things like equity and, you know, allowing for, you know, a rebalancing of things. Because we like to think of the world as very black and white, but it's not at all. And, everyone, you know, is on different levels, and, you know, we got to be able to, everyone has to be able to meet each other where they are.
Thank you. Can you share an example of a cosplay that blew your mind with creativity or accessibility? Did you say anything recent or in the past years?
That we've seen, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a few examples, if it's okay.
Go ahead.
So a few years ago, I went to Comic Palooza in Texas. I was judging on the cosplay contest, and like there was a contestant that came in. Has anybody here seen Mashal?
The wizard and the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Harry Potter, but actually better.
Yeah,
So
okay.
like Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's not. You need to watch it. Like
No,
after.
I watched that.
Oh, you watched? Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that was the right one.
Yeah. So there was this there was this cosplayer who came into the judging room. They cosplayed Abel Walker, and they have a cane. And so they made the costume. The costume looks great, and they also decorated their cane like the purple like decorations, and like they had like the puppet like on the side of the cane, and I thought it looked really cool. It looked so amazing. And then there's this other cosplayer who I think you guys should follow. Her name is Colleen Cosplays. She makes her cosplay. She uses a wheelchair and stuff, and she makes her cosplays. But she also, when she makes her cosplays, she also decorates like the wheels of the cosplays as well. And I thought they look so amazing. She mostly does Wings Club. She also does Supergirl. So I think you guys should check her out. And she also has a YouTube channel. So yeah, those cosplays are so good.
Nice.
You got anything, Joseph?
So there's a lot of cosplays that have always blown my mind, especially with accessibility. So in past years, we've had Magic Wheelchair here with us, and their cosplays have always, I always thought that was really cool, where they actually take wheelchairs and turn them into costumes and cosplays, and I really admire that, where people incorporate their accessibility into their cosplay.
Okay. Before I mention this, does anyone know Doctor Who? Anyone ever watch that show?
Doctor Who?
Yeah. Okay. So there's this autistic paraplegic cosplayer. She had her whole upper body, I mean half of her body that's covered in a wheelchair, and she did the whole Dalek thing. And I was like, whoa, that is so trippy and cool at the same time. Like just moving around. I forgot who is it that's in charge of the Daleks. I forgot what the guy's name was called.
It's been a while since I've watched.
But it was kind of like watching that. But
Yeah.
like she was her own boss, and she just took a charge of that show hallway. I was like,
That's nice.
That is so
yes.
Okay, and if you could redesign cosplay contest rules, what would it be to make things more inclusive?
Instead of doing a prize, do a no prize. And maybe focus on sponsorships and stuff like that instead. I mean, even smaller scale sponsorships instead of everything being weighted on like one or two cosplayers. Rebalancing, because this is all, for depending on where you are, a little bit, a very long way. And that rebalancing celebrating cosplay.
Hi, so I also compete at cosplay competitions and I've judged and I've won awards I know there's sometimes not every single competition has, but like some of the rules would mention points about accuracy, which I think they should, not every contest does this, but I know as a few, I think they should take out the word accuracy, because what really matters with cosplay competitions, whether making or even performing, like, that your cosplay does not have to be exactly 100% like the character, because sometimes with the designs it's hard to like translate in like real life, like the One Piece characters, those are impossible with their body proportions.
Also, if you're doing something totally original, that's impossible to compare it to for accuracy.
Yeah, exactly. So, and especially with craftsmanship, what matters is how well the cosplay is like made and like what materials used. So I've seen like a lot of people like they would like change up like the design a bit, or whether it's for comfort, for accessibility needs, and you are allowed to do that. So I feel like the accuracy like portion for like some of the rules for like some of the contests should not be in there, because people should be able to cosplay however they want and all that.
Thank you.
I am not experienced when it comes to this stuff. I mean, I put that more on Megan because she's the more experienced one.
Yeah.
But I probably make sure that contests recognize accessibility, innovation, and inclusive design as part of the judging.
Yes.
I think that sometimes the best cosplays aren't the most expensive, they're the most thoughtful, especially when someone adapts something to fit their body, their needs, and their disability. That's it.
That's true. And next question would be, what advice would you give someone who wants to cosplay but feels held back?
Just do it. Don't care what others think. Just do it. As someone who I started out as cosplaying, and cosplay eventually led Lionheart, so eventually led to me writing and creating art. And had I not taken that step into the fear, I never would have created my own card game. I never would have wrote books, created art, and eventually incorporated cosplay into my persona, my convention persona. Like, step into that fear, it could change your life. And of course, there's going to be people who are, there's always going to be people who are, dislike it. But that's because a lot of people in society aren't used to people being colorful and expressing themselves.
Hello. We have
Hi guys, sorry.
Yeah.
So I would like you to introduce yourself and what cosplay you're wearing with the image description.
Alright, hi everyone. My name is Day, but I go by Cosplay HD, Cotton Fan HD. I'm wearing like a Megan variant costume.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And let's see. And if you haven't yet, disclose. If you feel comfortable, can you disclose your disabilities, accessibility needs for Comic-Con?
Gotcha. I don't have my legs. I am a bilateral double amputee. I lost my legs in 2022 due to a drunk driver. He ran me off the road. I was outside of my car, unfortunately. And that's really all my disabilities at the moment. I've gotten a lot stronger, so I could have done stuff, so I appreciate being picked up. But yeah, that's my disability.
Thank you. And when you think about diversity and accessibility in creative spaces, what does that mean to you personally?
stuff like this,
Yes.
right? I do model. I model at conventions for a couple of friends. We do like, I have a business where I sell like jewelry, and so I do artist alley a lot. And then while I do artist alley, I also do modeling at conventions, mostly anime conventions, for small indie brands, and sometimes for fashion. I come across this problem kind of often where there's no ramp available for me, and then even if they've been told ahead of time. I remember Katsucon didn't have a ramp because apparently all the hotels share the same ramp, so they didn't have one to use at Katsucon, which is like crazy. So then I had to basically skateboard on top of the field. So this would be a huge issue for someone who isn't able to like move around as easy as I can, or I've adapted to. Yeah.
I know we're asking a question, I would like to catch up. Can you share an example of a cosplay that blew your mind with creativity or accessibility?
Ooh. So there's an amputee who made his legs long. So you make your legs longer if you have prosthetics. He made his legs extra long, and he did like a really tall. What's that? The enemy from Marvel. It was like purple. I should know his name, but he made a really tall enemy costume. So you didn't even know he was like missing a leg. He just made it really tall, and so like he's like just walking over everybody. But yeah, he's an amputee, which is pretty awesome. Galactus, yes, yes.
I was thinking Galactus.
Yes, Galactus. He's a lower leg amputee, and I saw him while he was making it, he was posting it in our like group chat, and I was like, holy cow, he looks amazing. So yeah, that would be definitely one of them.
Thank you. And if you could redesign cosplay contest rules, what would it be to make things more inclusive? Have you ever entered cosplay contests?
Yeah, I have actually, and I still do. I entered them. I had the same problem, which is the ramp thing. I would say that the level of difficulty is a little bit more for people with disabilities. So like, I don't know, maybe like skewing it a little bit, understanding that we get fatigued really easily, and I think taking into account a lot of the changes that we have to go through just to, I guess, appear normal, to fit in with everyone else. And we can't technically. I will never grow my legs back. So I think understanding that me making a costume, if I'm walking around, it's maybe a little bit harder to have done that than someone who's able-bodied. Yeah, that's for me, basically, because I have a physical disability.
Thank you so much. And we have just one more question to catch up, and appreciate you being here. What advice would you give someone who wants to cosplay but feels held back?
Oh my God, contemplate this question. Just do it. Just do it. And that's for people without disabilities too. Like, just do it. Like, it doesn't matter your size, your gender, your anything, disability or not. Just do it. If you want to do it, just do it. Most of it, the process is supposed to be fun. The process is supposed to be with your people, right? So find your people. You're here, you're at this convention. We're your people. So you can dress up and do whatever you want. I lost my legs and I still came back to this community because you guys are my people.
Thank you so much. And okay, everybody. And
so I guess for the advice of someone who wants to cosplay but feels held back, like you only have one life to live. If you have regrets, then you're going to be miserable. Like, so as my buddies say, like, just do it. Like, it's Shia LaBeouf, just do it. Like, and yeah, the shot. That's how you pronounce it. I was gonna pronounce his name. Sheila Buff. I was trying to See, I'm terrible. Like, and the thing is, like, the cosplay community, like, there's always gonna be people who are like super supportive and loving, and like, and you're gonna look amazing no matter what. So for me, like, when I first started cosplay, like, it was my friends that convinced me to cosplay. I was scared to cosplay because I'm black and plus size, and I'm like, I thought I would not look great cosplaying, but my friends like convinced me, and now I'm like addicted to this hobby for 15 years, and so definitely definitely go for it, and like you don't need like the most expensive materials to cosplay. You could just closet cosplay, you could use cardboard. There's so many accessible ways to get into the hobby. You don't need to look perfect. All that matters is that you're just having fun, you're goofing off with your friends, and yeah, and making a wonderful memory. So
Feel good.
exactly. That's one of the best parts.
Love that. Okay, so advice to anyone, starting off, I'm gonna say it again, just do it.
Just do it. Just do it.
There's a saying that I go by, which I think everyone should follow. Nothing happens if you do nothing. So you gotta make the first move, you gotta do it. You shouldn't care what other ones say. You should be around people who are gonna encourage you, because when when I wear this right now, first of all, this is probably the most expensive cosplay I've ever invested in. But whether it was, thank you, whether it be $100 or $1,000, the fact that I dress up as a character that kind of inspires me, that motivates me, that gets me hyped up, I am a different person, and sometimes that rubs off after I'm not wearing the costume anymore. And I think that's why we emphasize this panel so much, because cosplay will unlock something in you didn't have before. That's why I say to anyone who's new to it, just do it. And I swear to God, you're gonna have the most smiles, you're gonna be fun, you're gonna be a community, a healthy community that will support you and will love you, and will, you'll have treasured memories.
Agreed.
Thank you so much. We discussed a little bit about the accessibility barriers that still exist in conventions, but have you seen any improvements since your first New York Comic Con? And what are they?
Well, for me, definitely. But I feel old thinking about it, because I've been going to New York Comic Con since their 4th or 5th one. And back then, they weren't using the whole Javits Center. It wasn't as big, but they also didn't have the fire rooms. They didn't have, the different accessibility and ADA stuff that they have now. And it was good feedback, over each year I see them improving on it and taking the feedback to improve it. I would say, I definitely see improvements, but I also see, that there's definitely always stuff to be improved on. I also do want to quick circle back to the question about cosplay and accessibility, because it was something that slipped my mind, which was, stuff that really inspired me is seeing builders, and as a builder myself, getting access to things like power tools, stuff like that. You're learning a trade, you're learning skills, and not only that, you're able to then, once you have the tools, use it to help others. And so whether it be repairing wheelchairs, whether it be whatever, using 3D printing to build to create accessibility stuff, and connecting with the maker communities, stuff like that. I see a lot of crossover, and I think that's important to know.
It is, just to piggyback off of me, I do volunteer work for Lionheart Foundation. It's a company that makes prosthetics for kids. Oh, thank you. It's a foundation that makes prosthetics for kids. We recently just made prosthetics out of 3D printers. So just to know that if you guys have a 3D printer and maybe want to enter a different field of practice, you definitely can make like prosthetic pieces out of 3D which is pretty cool.
And there's a lot of open source designs too. You can
Yeah,
places like
so
Makers Making Change is one of them that has a lot of open source accessibility designs, like doorknob, putting things like doorknobs, video controls, stuff like that, adapters. But that's another free resource that's out there. Makers.
So I think, at least for the past like few years, in like conventions in general, I'm noticing there's more and more like quiet groups, which really which I'm very grateful for them. It really helps me and so many other people so much, especially if they need to like, calm down and dwindle down and stuff. But I do think there definitely should be like more ramps. And as I mentioned, I compete in cosplay competitions, and I've noticed like in not every contest, but like some contests, like in the backstage, like where the contestants go up, there'll be like stairs but no ramps. And I will hear stories of those who are disabled who their competitors, there's no ramps for them to come up on stage, so they have to like go up like in front of the stage to present their cosplay, and it sucks because not everybody can see their hard work and stuff. So, and the thing is, I know so many like contest coordinators. I'm friends with them, and like a huge majority are trying to push for more accessibility in competitions and stuff. So, but they're trying hard, but it's the con and like the venue. So I feel like, as Joe mentioned like a while ago, like definitely like, when the survey like comes up, definitely like push for more ramps, more accessibility and all that.
Yeah, there's definitely power in numbers.
Yeah.
There's also power in speaking out, because if we don't speak out, how can they help us if they don't know how to help us, or that we're even looking for help?
Sorry, forgot to speak. I feel like there is some progress, like the sensory rooms, better ADA lines, like they won't be cramped up with normal lines. I feel like clearer maps to make it more precise, to make it more detailed and description, because I swear I wouldn't know where anything is if I didn't look at the New York Comic Con maps. But there are challenges that still exist. As a prime example right now, that needs to be fixed. Some panels and vendor spaces can be cramped, and audio clarity isn't always great for deaf or hard of hearing attendees. Actually, they should have every panel room should have some ASL training to speak, because we need that to accommodate anybody. If we don't, then how are they going to understand or know what's going on?
Sometimes I notice have, but not every like panel, but I feel like every should have.
No, they absolutely should.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think also the way that technology is changing too, that even just some simple as having having audio video set up with a computer, and because they have stuff like real-time transcriptions and stuff like that, to create closed captions. These are all simple things that that really is open source tools. So it doesn't take much. It takes the knowledge and know-how of where to go to find it.
I mean, there are improvements, but the mission isn't over, and we're going to keep doing what we can to make sure that does get accomplished.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we have like a few more questions, and then we'll go to Q&A. Some you already touched on these, so I'm going to skip to some. How do you feel when someone stops you for a photo or recognizes your cosplay?
I didn't get a chance to answer the last question. Obviously, I'm not going to go too hard, but at the end of every convention, they give out a feedback. That is very important. I know not a lot of people like to do the feedback. That is the part where if you have a disability, you have a need that could be used, and a lot of people have it. That's where you state your concerns. So that was all I wanted to add.
Yeah, and I'm just going to throw out there that, from a mathematical perspective, look at how many people attend New York Comic Con, and now think about how many people actually fill out that survey. Even if it's just a small 1%, that's a massive amount of people. So, but most people don't fill out the survey, so that's why it's so important. one step more than what most people do.
How I feel, people kind of stop me for photos, often, even if I'm not at a convention. And I'm pretty okay with it as long as they ask and it doesn't seem rude. I've always kind of been okay with it. I've been doing this. I've been doing this for like 20 years, so yeah, it's always been kind of okay with me.
I'm personally okay with it. I mean, before, I think the first time I used to feel a little bit uncomfortable. I didn't know how to perceive it, but then I find it kind of flattering if someone wants to take a photo with you. I think it's awesome. I like to agree with what she says. I like to be notified. I don't want to be like shocked and like take a photo and I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, what the hell? Like, can you ask me before I say this? Because you don't know what I'm doing right now. Sorry, I didn't say that. But because of that, it inspires me to try, and I know that it's all worth it.
For me, like, I always get, even still now, I always get shocked when people ask me for a photo and stuff. And it feels great, like people recognize it, like your cosplay, especially if you're cosplaying something that's super obscure and someone's like, you know, recognize it and makes their day and stuff. But like, I'm always happy for photos, but always, you know, make sure to ask first before you just, like just said, before you just shove the camera into someone's face. Cosplay is not consent, and yeah, as long as the person, you know, is not, you know, not relaxing, if they're relaxing or if they're eating, then you shouldn't really, or if they said like no, then you shouldn't really get their phone, but always make sure to like ask first, and if they say yes, and yeah, that'll be awesome. And yeah, I always get excited, and that's how I met like some friends and stuff, so you also make friends, but like, definitely, I'm happy for photos, but make sure to like ask, and yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Respect the person's boundaries.
Like, I know you're eating, I'm so sorry, but can I absolutely love your character?
I feel like I'd be wearing a cosplay, eating a burger, like, hey, dude, photo, or be like, man, eating the burger, like, oh.
Now we know how actors feel whenever they feel.
Yeah, that's pretty much, that's good. That's actually a good analogy, like.
Is there anything you'd like to add, Joseph?
So this is how you feel when someone stops you for a photo?
Yeah, like,
Okay, yeah, so
How do you feel about it?
I personally love it when people stop me for a photo. I take it as a compliment. Also, I'm gonna throw out there that you know it's also an opportunity. I use it as an opportunity to explain what you know, some of the symbolism. Blue butterfly. One of the things that it symbolizes is you know the art of giving back, and you know, it has a lot. There's a lot of different things that butterflies can symbolize. So you know, there's that's something else that I can talk about. But also, if it wasn't for photos and cosplay, I would have never met Nancy, my fiance. And so she actually traveled from South Texas to through our love of cosplay. 9 years ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not for cosplay, not for photos of cosplays.
Yeah, we went through cosplay, so.
The chances of two people, from all the way, across the the opposite sides of the United States meeting, so unlikely that, to me it's, that's the power of, cosplaying photos and stuff like that.
It's the power of love. Power of love, I was about to say the same thing.
Is there anything you'd like to add, Justin, before we go to questions?
I didn't have it.
You're good?
I have nothing to add on to that.
Everybody's good?
No, Joe took that.
Okay, everybody, whoever wants to ask questions can come up here. I don't mind if I can get to it. Or maybe you can jump it up.
He had his hand first.
You have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, my voice rejects. So
Okay,
anyway, I work in the ABA field. I was wondering if anybody who's nerd or virgin, do you have any advice for parents where their kids might want to get into the cons or cons? It's also my first con, so appreciate it. Appreciate it. So like, if there's any advice you would have for like parents who their kids might be interested in either coming to a con or cosplaying or getting involved.
So I consider it that, and also in addition to myself having autism, I also work as a direct support professional. And it was because of cosplay that it actually helped me get the job. Because and that's also part of why I come to New York Comic Con every year, is to use pop culture as a way to connect with people that I work with. So, and for those who don't know, a direct support professional is somebody who is a support person that teaches ADL skills and things like social skills and daily living skills to people with autism or other developmental disabilities. My advice is, because obviously, you know, New York Comic Con can be really overstimulating. Start with a smaller show as a test to see how how people are, how the person is around it. You know, because an easier way in, you know, because going to New York Comic Con is your first show, first comic book show. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's one thing I would say is easing yourself into it, but also finding ways to connect with them, because it definitely one of the nice things about cosplay is you are free to be true to yourself, and especially with things like autism, a lot of times you're masked in society, and so it's kind of a way to take off that mask by you're taking off your mask of society for and being able to put on a costume. And cosplay is predictable, which is really good for autism, because you're able to predict what you're walking into, and you're able to mentally prepare, and you'll know your fandoms and stuff like that. And that's something that autism really thrives off of, is that predictability.
You guys something to follow with that?
I think it's pretty much.
Do you have something?
Yeah, I have a son. He's not neurodivergent or anything, but I started bringing him when he was really young, and I did like Ren fairs, something very small, and I wanted to dress him up in me, but we also have to figure out if they like dressing up, because maybe they just want to wear regular clothes and not be interested in cosplaying per se, because that could get cumbersome, like a lot of things on them. They may not be very comfortable. My son, I think, did like Ash Ketchum, and when people would ask to take photos of him, he would like take all his book bag off, put the book bag on the floor, put his Pokemon on the thing, and then pose, right? So you have to give for a space. Back when these cons first started, it was very like not a lot of people. Now it's way too many people for a first convention. So like they said, as Joe said, to go to a smaller event, or just an event where there's a lot of people, to understand how your child will act in a group of people, getting used to trusting you, depending on you in that manner. It's a different situation. But yeah, as a kid and as a parent, that's what I did.
Following up quickly, for neurodivergent, because I've been around students around there, I used to be a mentor, and sometimes you have to accommodate certain needs. You gotta think about the noise factor, the crowdedness, which is why imagine New York Comic Con is the first thing. I know it's exciting and hyped up, and it's too much depending on the age of the kid and disability. So you gotta start with something small, let them get accustomed to it, like a kid when you're doing a kiddie pool. You don't put them in the big pool, you put them in the kiddie pool, get them, wet, let them swim a little bit, and then eventually they can get into the big one. That's my biggest advice to you.
Appreciate that.
She had a question.
No question? Go ahead.
Yeah, so please forgive me, I'm very tardy. I don't have like lungs like you do.
It's okay.
And I'm short.
Yeah, so sorry that I was tardy, but really, as soon as I, came in, pretty engaged on everything you guys all shared. But surprisingly, and please forgive me, I'm not trying to stereotype or anything. My daughter is also on the spectrum, but I almost feel like this room should be packed because I'm sure a lot of, and again, coming to an event like this, like you mentioned, a litany, a host of different things people want to get involved in, the different panels, etc. But do you feel like this actually could be a movement? Cosplay and special needs, and how could that be amped up? You know what I mean? Again, I'm just thinking of a little community that I work with, but I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, I wish they were all here to see all of you guys from, you know, a variety of different perspectives. But do you see a movement building around this?
Oh.
Not just with autism, but again, the whole neurodiversity and co-play, because cosplays, right? I feel like it works hand in hand, no?
Oh no, absolutely. It's hand in hand. We're on the same family together. I mean, I don't take any offense that this room is not the crowded, it's not full. I mean, we've had moments where it was full back when we first started in Anime NYC. We had in the first convention, New York Comic Con, when we first did it. But years go by, interest come in, timing isn't perfect. But no matter how small, it could be one person, two people, it could be 100 people. Right now, the movement is like a flickering fire, and as it keeps rising, we're just gonna burn, and then it's gonna spread like wildfire. That's the whole thing we're gonna do. So we're not gonna stop, we're gonna keep burning with passion, and that's what
Yeah, and you know, I guess the reason I commented is just listening the last 15 minutes I was able to, you know, be privy to. I'm on fire for it, you know what I mean? So I'm just thinking, can you imagine, you know what I mean? But
It's
again,
definitely,
kudos to you guys, because I could see how this could, you know.
it's definitely a movement, and again, back to butterflies, the butterfly effect. You know, a butterfly flaps its wings. One part of the world and it turns into a tornado, and the other on the other side of the world. It's definitely a movement, and the fact that you guys are here, that means a lot. I actually took a picture of the audience because it shows that that's one thing I've learned doing activism and stuff and speaking. When you're speaking, if you take a picture of the audience, you know proof to show that people actually show up to the panel. May not be, doesn't have to be a lot of people because it grows over here. But having people that actually show up, that is important because people are going to talk after. And word of mouth is really, really powerful.
So I feel like, especially nowadays, more people are getting more aware of like different neurodivergencies, and now more people are trying to like find out, more and more people are trying to get diagnosed. There's much more awareness for it, especially like online and stuff. So there's definitely like a movement, and people are now, they're like learning about it, trying to be much more aware, and they're trying to like push for like more like inclusivity and like everything and stuff. So the movement is I know there's not a lot of people here, but online and like outside of it, people are definitely aware. They're definitely trying to push for more like accessibility and stuff. So
I think it takes a lot of us to be visible. There aren't a lot of amputees here, and when I see them, I make sure to like say, hey, hello, like we're connected by some way. The reason why there are not many of us visible, because it's difficult. This included. It's difficult to be out and about. And I can't imagine the same. I didn't know that the quiet rooms were for people who get overstimulated, right? No clue. I just thought that was a place to go to sleep. So as someone who was previously able-bodied and unaware of what others could need for stuff like that, it really just takes people being visible and loud. And if you can advocate for someone who's unable to advocate for themselves, that is that.
Anyone else have any more questions? Yes, sir.
I know you guys said that you should just do it with cosplay. However, how can one deal with imposter syndrome while making and moving into your costume?
Well, do you love it? If you love it, like if you like this character, like you know everything about this character and you love this character, I think putting it on should make you feel something. It should make you feel like you're a part of this character. I remember when I first started cosplaying, I was just like a cat girl. Like I would just put on ears and a tail, because that's what I imagined in my head. That's what I would want to look like. And that was it, up until I think my first cosplay was Ramona Flowers. And I made I made the bag out of like t-shirts, and it was like warping. It was bad. It was my first attempt, but I was so proud of myself that I even did it. And then I went in the street, and people knew who I was, and I was happy about that. Like I think try not to put too much worry on the after part while you're doing it, because then that can kind of psych you out, and you may not do it. That's my advice.
Yes.
I know the follow-up. So luckily none of my clinics are in New York. So guys, I'm as I know, neurotypical, but this is overwhelming for me. So I could see like a little kid like, not being able to deal with it. Further out we have clinics. Would you guys suggest maybe starting a clinic and making like a little fake like Diversicon? Like with the kids that kind of like know everything.
It's still a real convention.
Yeah.
I think that actually is a great idea, especially if it's inclusive, where it's open to the public too. Because then that would double to break stigma around in the community, because a lot of times with mental health and other types of therapy clinics, there is a stigma, and having that those community connections can really make a huge impact for both the general public as well as people with disabilities. And that goes back to disability history too. But that's a great idea.
Fantastic.
I love the name, that was really creative.
Yeah, yes, brilliant.
We have time, 1 minute for one more question.
I have one thing to add.
Okay.
Can you guys tell us your views on physical disabilities versus emotional disabilities, and how do you think we can make the public more aware of emotional disabilities? Because when people say I have a disability, they don't see it. They go, "Oh, you're not disabled." You know what I'm saying? And I get that all the time. Like people say to me, "You're not disabled." And I'm like, "Well, you want to see my doctor?" And so how can we make that more? You know what I'm saying?
There really isn't necessarily a true answer for that, but that's also why things like that exists, because not everyone who has an invisible disability wants people to know, and then there are people who have invisible disabilities that they want people to know, and then and it goes the same thing with people who have physical disabilities. There are people with physical disabilities that they are not public, don't do their best to hide it, because they don't want people in society to know, because there is stigma out there, depending on what community you're in, and there's acceptance too, depending on what community. But that's, a much bigger, societal issue. But there are ways in which we answer, because that's where individuality comes in, and everyone has their own belief systems and stuff like that.
I just want it to be more accepted, emotional versus physical.
Having influencers and stuff like that, we talk about it, and I think that definitely helps, because when we talk about more of that, there can be acceptance.
I don't want to make them call it summarize good job.
Okay, everybody, so where can we find you on social media? What's your name?
So for me, for social media, all my social media is on my website, joebutterfly.com, which will take you to my card games website, but that page specifically is about the creator, and it has all the different social media platforms and stuff, links to them, so it's a nice way to find me. It also has my email and stuff. But yeah, joebutterfly.com.
You can find me at Stardust_Megu. I'm on Instagram, Threads. I'm on Blue Sky, and there on Blue Sky, I'm a menace. So be sure, pretty much if you see Stardust Megu, that's me. Feel free to follow me, and we'll be friends.
For me, you can look me up on Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, mostly YouTube. Instagram, same username, DUBBY Lionheart, and let me be specific, it's like TOBE Lionheart. Because a lot of times people keep mistaking it for the word two and the B. But if you look at DUBBY Lionheart, you'll find me everywhere. Okay?
Lionheart, Lionheart.
You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, CTTN_CNDY_HG. This is abbreviated Cotton Candy HG.
Thank you so much, everyone, and that's it for the panel.
Thank you.